Behind me, you can see the sauna. It's been a year now since I first completed the sauna, and while it's not 100% complete, it has been functioning now for just over 12 months. And I thought today would be the perfect time to just kind of go over the sauna in terms of what I like, what I don't like, and what I would do differently. Obviously, this video is not about all the health benefits, but I will say in the year that I've been using it, I have not been sick. The sauna is something you can do in the summer, it's something you can do in the winter, in the pouring rain, and it's allowed me to enjoy the property all year round, no matter what the weather, and that is amazing. I spent about 2 months doing research. Like every night when the kids were in bed, I was watching YouTube videos, I was reading, anything I could find on sauna, I just dove deep into it. And I came up with this drawing, and that's basically the idea I had in my head. I wanted something that was built out of timbers that felt like a log cabin, while my wife wanted something that was modern. So this little drawing became the inspiration to actually building this. This is not built from a kit. This is not something that I bought at a store. Literally drew up a plan and started building it. Okay, so this is the approximate layout. And if I ran 2-inch high, 6-inch wide cedar boards across. Unfortunately, at the time, my father-in-law had been diagnosed with ALS, and you know, he had built 3 saunas in his life, and I just thought it would be something that we could do together, that he could help with when he had the energy and time. And we were able to get a bunch of saunas in before he passed away. So every time we have a sauna, you know, we think of Bob, and yeah, he was really happy with the finished product, and that's just kind of, you know, just something that, you know, stays with me every time I do go in the sauna. Thing with the sauna, it's like a hot tub, it needs to be close to the house. I love to have it out by the tiny home, but the reality is that when it's cold and rainy, it's gonna be wood burning, you don't wanna come out. So here's our wood shed. It's actually going to be right here. So there'll be a porch, you'll walk in, 2 benches, and then it's going to be all glass windows. So you'll look out and you'll see the forest and the sky. Location, 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 right? Everything comes down to location, if it's going to be functional or not. So this particular spot here was really dead space, so it was a perfect spot. Now to get it set up so we could build it, we had to bring in a skid steer to move out a bunch of dirt, and then luckily my buddy had all these rocks that he had given me, so we loaded those in to build a really strong base, and then did about 5 or 6 yards of crushed gravel that was then packed on top for our base before we did the concrete foundation. So it's a perfect way to to finish off this part of the backyard that really had no function, and now it's, I would argue, the crowning jewel of the backyard. All right, so a little Saturday building action. Over here, the door will be cut out. The door will go here. When I built this, I built it out of 5-inch by 5-inch cedar timbers. And you can see on the corners, log here, log coming that way. And that's how we built the whole thing, as straight as we possibly could. See that there? What's up, Mac? That looks safe. Mac, you excited for a sauna? There's really three types of sauna, right? There is the wood burning, there's the electric, and then there's the infrared. A wood burning stove is more work, but I would argue it is the best way to have a sauna. Number one, I've got this baby well over 100 Celsius, which is pretty hot. Typically, I have a sauna at around 80, 85. Now with a stove like this, again, it's a big stove. I do lose a lot of thermal mass because of the door and because of the window with the glass. When I actually bought the stove, I got it from a great store up in Barrie, and the guy was great, Alex, and you know, he tried to talk me out of going wood, and he was like, the next stove you get will be electric. I would disagree with him entirely. Getting the firewood, making your kindling, lighting the fire, managing that fire, and then going in for the first time. So when we go inside here, obviously a main component of any sauna, and particularly this sauna, is your heating source. So this is mine. It's a HUMM 17 model. So it's made in Estonia. So you can see the stones here. Super happy with it. It's a beast. I'm just gonna open it up in here. You can see here's my fire pit. And then you open this to get all the ash out. And also, it's also your damper for your wood stove for giving it oxygen. So what I tend to do when I go to clean it, I just kind of try to move it all around and fill up that tray. You can see I get a big tray of wood ash. Obviously, make sure the fire's out. I haven't had a fire for a few days. I save all my wood ash. I use this in the chicken coop, deodorizer. All right, so when I light the fire, what I do is I throw in 2 big logs, like so. Some cardboard or an egg carton. I light that. Then I get a bunch of kindling. I load that in. Then I take some smaller logs that I've split. I load those in. Like so. Give it a little motivation. The one thing that I absolutely love with this stove is the glass door. Because being able to see the fire is just such a huge psychological. I just couldn't imagine having that sauna without being able to see the fire. It's really an important factor. Now, so this is how I control the amount of oxygen, which is the tray for cleaning it. So I don't want it open too much, just a little bit. I keep this antler around as well. So when it is really hot, I can open, I can close it, and I leave that right over there. There are a few things that I don't like about the stove. The crate or grate inside where the wood goes on top is starting to buckle and fall apart. Not really thrilled on that. The fact that, you know, it does take so much stone is what I love, but I was surprised at how much the stones collapsed over time, and I had to use fire bricks to kind of make up some space so I didn't have to buy more stone. I will have to replace those stone at some point, probably this year before going into next winter, and I will not buy the HUMM stones from the store. It's just not worth it. I'm gonna go to a landscape place and source granite. It can be any sort of granite or igneous rock, and just make sure it's not sedimentary, because if there's moisture inside, which there will be, it will explode, and you do not want a rock inside your sauna blowing up like a grenade. Not only will that break the window, but it will break you. I also wanted to have a tile floor. I wasn't comfortable. A lot of these designs and prefabs that you buy, The floor literally goes right to the stove, and just with all of the hot ambers that can fall out, I just wanted a non-combustible area around the stove, and so I'm glad I did that. When you're having a sauna, you want to go in, 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on the temperature, and then when you come out, you want to cool off. Having a cold plunge is an absolute must if you have a sauna, in my view. All right. Minus 16 Celsius.
17 it says now.
Minus 17 Celsius.
Yeah.
Might be the coldest day of the year. Like it's not even worth having a sauna if you don't have some way to cool off immediately. Merry Christmas, everybody. Woo! Ho! Ho! Ho, ho. 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 Oh. I have a vent down below the stove, and I also have a vent up top. This one is critical. So if you have a sauna, you have to have a vent, ideally on the opposite side of the stove. And you can open it like so. I'll keep that closed until I come in to have a sauna, but once I come in, I'll open it, and that allows for fresh oxygen to come in, which is important because the stove is pulling out all the oxygen and using it in the fire. So you want to make sure that you have a fresh source of oxygen. The room also isn't like 100% airtight, so there is air coming in and when you open the door and whatnot, but having that vent is really, really important. This thing worked for literally the first week and does not work anymore. I do use the thermometer, and I did calibrate that with my oven thermometer, and that's very handy. So I typically have a sauna at around 80 Celsius. I've had it up to 105, and I've had it as low as 40 if it's with the kids. My other part of the review is just like, this did have a handle, it broke. This was black, now it's bronze. That was something I cut a corner on just to save some money. I would not recommend this. I would definitely just go with a cedar bucket and ladle. I added the railing on after from a safety perspective. It does kind of take a seat away to a degree, but you can sit your back there and use that as a handle, and it's just a nice safety thing to have. These are tiles that I bought. This is on the concrete pad. They snap in. I had to cut a couple with the table saw just to make them fit, but really happy with it. I don't have, as you can see, they don't go all the way to the back. That was just a cost cutting measure. But when I finish the lights, I'll probably have to get some more to add in there, because when you look out the window or you look from the window inside, you can see it. So this was definitely a very cost-effective way of doing the floor. And I'm happy with it. It's cedar, it's held up well, and yeah, I would totally do that again. I did have some water issues. There was water coming in on some of these cracks. You can see like down below. Yeah, you can't really see that many, but like up here, you can see that water line. That was because of the timbers, and the water was seeping through the outside. I caulked those with a roof adhesive, and I've had no water issues of any water coming in since then. You can see the vent on the outside. On the ceiling here, on the roof, I've never done anything to it. It's aged very nicely. There's Millie, that's Millie's favorite spot. You can see the chimney working well above code. I have landscaping to finish over here, but I love the rock pile, and I will be finishing the cold plunge at some point. The rock pile, again, here's my well. It's hidden underneath. It was always kind of an eyesore. And here's the cold plunge all filled up. Again, a really key component with everything here. I put a shim under these two, underneath there, and just hit it up a bit. With the cedar, one of the reasons I wanted to use cedar and I wanted to do the timbers was the idea was it would be natural cedar on the inside, and then on the outside, I was gonna burn it with a blowtorch. I brushed it down with a wire brush, and then I burned it again, and then after that, I linseed oiled it. So this year I will be putting another 2 coats of linseed on just to keep that cedar hydrated, which is what I did when I built it. Other than that, this design, it's really an organic type of finish. If anything, I would have burned it more. It's faded quite a bit, but once I put that linseed oil on again, it will darken up quite a bit. Gonna have a sauna tonight. How you doing, James? I do have a light inside and a light on the patio. However, it's not hardwired into the house yet. I just run an extension cord when I want the power. We will be putting lights in underneath the bench as well. The nice thing too with the sauna is that I have the overhang. So I have the hooks, you can hang up your towel, your robe, whatnot. And it can be pouring rain or snowing and your stuff's gonna stay dry. And having this patio really is awesome. Just gives you a platform to stand on, not get muddy. Go in and out of the cold plunge, no problem. Last but not least, the door. Obviously having the door, it's pretty cool because you can look in and you can look out. But I have had issues with the door, but I am anticipating at some point this door being smashed by the wind in some capacity. The old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. It's the same thing with the sauna. Could not have got it done without Bob, who was a huge inspiration for building it. Obviously my buddy Cliff, who's the handiest guy that I know and really helped me out a lot on this. And also Jerry, who was here, especially when I was getting all the timbers planed down. It was a big effort to get it done. In terms of the sauna 1 year later, I really wouldn't change anything with the design. I think for an 8x8 sauna, with having that big window, the 2-bench system was perfect. I'm thrilled with it. I would give it a 10 out of 10 rating. I really would not change anything in terms of that at all. If you're on the fence about getting one or not, get a sauna. They're absolutely incredible.